Hi there, good afternoon. My name is Natasha Hastings. I'm a recent medical graduate, currently graduating public health student from St. George's University in the beautiful country of Grenada. So for my practicum platform, what I was able to participate in, I was able to join up with the Basic Needs Trust Fund in Grenada specifically. This trust fund exists throughout the Caribbean, throughout different islands, but I was working specifically with the branch in Grenada, in St. George, right there in town. So in 1979, the Caribbean Development Bank, in collaboration with the U.S. Agency for International Development, launched the Caribbean Education Development and Basic Human Needs Employment Sector Program to reduce poverty in select CDB borrowing member countries, one of those countries being Grenada. In subsequent years, the program was renamed the Basic Needs Trust Fund. It's a program that is financed by grant financing in the CBD and counterpart funds from the local governments. Each cycle, the BNTF program extends over a period of 4 years. Currently, the program is in its 10th cycle. The specific project that I had the joy of participating in data collection and analysis for was the Bonair Bridge. So the Bonair Bridge was placed in Victoria in St. Mark's, Grenada. That's going to be up north on the island where mostly only locals live. The other people that you'll find living there would be people for foreign aid that would be in the area. But it's mainly farmers, fishers, local people, things of that sort. So this Bonair Bridge exists to connect. At first, it was just kind of like a temporary transportation means for the people after Hurricane Ivan. It connects part of the town to another part of the town where you will find public elementary schools, other housing, and it will give access to those people who live on the side of the school to be able to come into town to do their normal groceries, go banking, go see doctors, etc. There's a YouTube video that I wanted to play a little bit of to kind of give you a bit more of a background. I can play that now.
With an investment of over $2.3 million, the construction of the new reinforced concrete bridge at Burnley and St. Mark is nearing completion. The NDC caretaker for St. Mark constituency, Senator Quinn Britton, says the investment in infrastructure was necessary and timely due to the deplorable conditions of the Bailey's Bridge in the area over the years. Senator Quinn says the government had to take the necessary steps to ensure the safety of motorists and pedestrians, taking into consideration that there are three schools in the vicinity. There was once a boat bridge, or what you call a Bailey's Bridge, erected there. And what's supposed to be like a temporary measure became permanent. Unfortunately, during the passage of Hurricane Emily, the bridge was completely washed away. And after that, a new structure was erected, put in another temporary bridge. But what we saw that became permanent, and with everything else, if you don't maintain it, then that is what caused, we had serious deterioration. And I'm happy to see that the bridge is, we can say, 98% complete. It's almost there. It's just some wrapping up works to do, but all the major concrete work is done and so on. And if you look, you see, we have some additional works where they try to make it as safe as possible for the children and the people who, all the pedestrians who travel that area. We have the bridge has two pedestrian walk with rails. On one side of the bridge as well too, you have a pedestrian walk and rail. So it makes it really, really safe. And I'm happy to see this project come into fruition, given, how I lamented on the importance of, maintaining infrastructure. Residents of the community says,
So that was just a little bit of a personal view for you to actually see the bridge that was made. And please excuse my misnaming of the hurricane. It was Hurricane Irene, as stated there. I continued with data collection. Let me share the proper screen with you. Okay. So this was my data collection of a survey that we put out. To jump to the survey that we put out, this is how it started. First, we just got regular demographics. How old are you? What is your gender? How long have you lived here? How close do you live to the bridge? Then we wanted to kind of gauge the community's perspective on the impact of building the bridge. Before the bridge was reconstructed, how often were you traveling? How often did you travel on a different path before the construction because it felt too dangerous? And following the construction now, how often did you use the bridge? Question number five was more of a gauge-based analysis from strongly agree to strongly disagree to neutral. Um, it was regarding the safety of the bridge being improved for cars, for pedestrians, for children traveling to and fro school. Another main concern in this area was the drainage. As you saw in the video, the bridge is kind of hanging right over a river. So that drainage was inefficient, or apparently to the community, it was inefficient previously. And because of the new bridge being built, the drainage has improved. About 31% strongly agree, 34% agree, and 34% are neutral, meaning most people think it was about average or it got better, whereas only 4% believe that building the bridge had no effect or it hurt even the drainage of this area. The main thing that we found important was that the bridge was improving access for local pedestrians. So it did prove to improve access for about 70% of the community, which is a grand majority. Then we went to ask about their overall satisfaction on the roads in the area. These were questions that were asked previously, prior to the building of the bridge. We just wanted to ask some of these things again to gauge analysis on how these things had improved. So more than half of the people were more than satisfied with the improvements to the road and the drainage around them. Another third was satisfied. So a good 84, 85% of people were definitely satisfied with the improvements that were made with the building of this bridge. There were different areas. We wanted to know how the bridge improved the livelihood of the people living there. Seeing as most of the people are self-employed, a lot of them are retired. That's why a majority of the percentage did say other, rather than social life, education, business, job opportunities, because it was probably being able to see their relatives across the other side or being able to make it to certain events. Maybe not a social life, maybe family events. When asking if quality of life had improved, we got quite a few very good responses. More than 80% had agreed that their commute time had lessened. In what ways had the bridge met your needs or expectations? Safety has not met, I apologize, has not met your needs or expectations. The main thing that we can see here is the safety concerns. About 41.5% of people are still concerned about the safety around the bridge. I think a lot of these concerns comes from the openings on the sides of the bridge, making it easy for children to possibly fall through. Um, Otherwise, it is accessible for elderly, disabled, things of that matter. Majority of people did believe that the benefits outweighed the risks and the downfalls of the construction, so the inconvenience was not so big of a problem that they wouldn't support similar projects in the future. Almost unanimously, we got about 99.6% of locals who would be in support of further expansion projects just like this. Going on, we kind of just looked into the community, looked into the respondents, saw how many of them were farmers, fishers, private sector, government, traders, shopkeepers, students, teachers, retired, and other. We then asked where exactly people lived. A lot of these places are suburbs or sub-suburbs in the area in which surrounds the bridge that we built. So it was very important for us to get direct results from the people who lived closest. I was then able to form a report and analysis, give a background, kind of give something that could be published to demonstrate the effects of everything that was done here. So I had created a basic needs trust fund beneficiary satisfaction survey analysis. The background of this, it was to determine the satisfaction level of the beneficiaries being the people local to the building of the bridge, regarding new community access, drainage, specifically around the bridge, the one that was undergoing construction. The main improvements that we saw with the construction of the Bonair Bridge were in safety. While most of the concerns still loomed around safety, there were much more concerns about safety before the bridge had been reconstructed. So there's still some minor things to be done, but we definitely made great gains in this area. This is kind of just to show you the analysis that was done. These were the main improvements: post-construction, easier access to amenities, improved community access, so between each other, shorter commute times, and less traffic congestion. Um, then I went to analyze how many people were satisfied in terms of how close they lived to the project itself. So we did get more satisfaction out of those who were closest to the bridge, which is kind of the more important people to get that satisfaction from because the bridge affects them the most. Drainage improvement, we saw a huge feedback on that. Drainage was one of the main concerns before the bridge had been reconstructed. So it's quite revolutionary that we saw such strong support for the fact that drainage had improved post-construction. And that's pretty much what I did with my project. I was happy to help with this project. The area in which I helped is very dear to my heart. I spent time living in Victoria and St. Mark's, Grenada, during COVID. Under lockdown, my dog and I moved up north and lived there for a month or two while continuing school activities, but overall just trying to live and survive through the pandemic. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it, and I hope the work I did helps out. Thank you.